Welcome to This Explainer! We're diving right into one of the absolute wildest aspects of the Mahabharata today. We are tracking the incredible journey of divine energy. You see, in these ancient texts, spiritual energy, or might, isn't just some abstract idea. It's a very real, tangible force. It's something that can be weaponized, completely stolen away, and eventually, painstakingly earned back. So, let's jump into some mind-bending legends from the source material and figure out exactly how this power flows.
Here is the roadmap for today. We'll start with the Asura's deadly feast, check out the birth of a superpowered sun, and then see how that all ties into the power of a sacred river. From there, we'll watch the clash of two Ramas and wrap it all up with a literal glimpse of the cosmos.
All right, part 1, the Asura's deadly feast.
We're kicking things off with the incredibly powerful Rishi Agastya, who ends up walking right into a trap set by an Asura prince named Ilwala. And when I say a trap, I mean a trick that had been literally wiping out kings left and right. The source text explains it perfectly. The Asura Ilwala would invite visiting kings over and hospitably feed them this massive, lavish meal. The catch? The meal was actually his own brother, Vatapi, who had been magically transformed into a cooked ram. Honestly, as far as mythological assassination plots go, you have to admit that's pretty creative.
So you're probably wondering, why on earth would you feed your own brother to your guests? Well, here was the trick. After the guests finished eating, Ilwala would use dark magic to summon Vatapi back to life. Vatapi would then literally burst out of the guests' stomachs, killing them on the spot. But what happens when the great sage Agastya, a guy possessing just unfathomable spiritual energy, sits down and eats the entire meal himself?
Well, before Ilwala can even finish his summoning spell, Agastya just lets out this thunderous burp. The text actually describes it as a sound as loud as the roar of the clouds. Agastya just bursts out laughing. He looks right at a horrified Ilwala and reveals that nope, his brother isn't coming out. Why? Because Agastya has already completely digested the great Asura. His internal spiritual fire, that raw concentrated energy, was so intense that it just effortlessly neutralized the demon's magic.
Totally defeated, in absolute shock, and, mourning his digested brother, Ilwala is forced to submit. Because Agastya's energy proves so dominant, the Asura has to surrender a massive fortune. We're talking 10,000 cows per king, equal amounts of gold, double that amount for Agastya himself, and a massive golden chariot pulled by magical horses, named Virava and Surava. Oh, and those horses, they transport them all back home in the twinkling of an eye. In this world, sheer energy literally commands reality.
Moving on to part 2, a sun equal to thousands.
So, with all that newly acquired wealth, Agastya can finally fulfill the desires of his devout wife, Lopamudra. But before they conceive, Agastya actually offers her a really fascinating mathematical choice. He basically asks how she wants this divine energy distributed among their future kids. She can have 1,000 normal sons, 100 sons who each have the power of 10, 10 sons each with the power of 100, or just one single son capable of vanquishing 1,000 all on his own. Lopamudra very wisely chooses quality over quantity. She picks the single son. And this perfectly captures the epic's obsession with heavily concentrated energy versus dispersed power.
Now, because this chosen son is meant to house the energy of 1,000 men, the gestation process is completely wild. 7 years. The fetus grows in Lopamudra's womb for 7 full years. Talk about mythological scale, right? And when the boy, Dridhasyu, is finally born, he comes out already radiating incredible splendor, literally reciting the Vedas instantly. He is just practically humming with concentrated divine might.
Which brings us to part 3, the sacred river's power.
Centuries after Agastya's feast and that crazy 7-year gestation, we fast forward to our present framing narrative. We find Yudhisthira, who is on a physical pilgrimage because he needs to restore his own depleted power. His guide, the sage Lomasa, brings him to the very spot where Agastya's asylum once stood, right near the sacred Bhagirathi River, at a place called the Tirtha of Brigu. Lomasa tells Yudhisthira he needs to bathe right there to restore the energy that his enemies stole from him.
And the sacred water has an immediate, undeniable effect. The second Yudhisthira bathes in those waters, his body blazes forth in this brilliant effulgence. His lost energy rushes back so intensely that he practically becomes invisible to his enemies. Experiencing this physical restoration makes Yudhisthira super curious, so he asks Lomasa about the history of the place. He wants to know about another great warrior who supposedly restored his lost power in these exact same waters long ago.
Okay, part 4, clash of the two Ramas.
Yudhisthira's question leads us straight into an incredible, high-stakes test of power between two very different figures who happen to share the exact same name. On one side, we have Rama of Brigu's line. He's a fierce warrior carrying a terrifying celestial bow known for just wiping out the Kshatriya warrior class. On the other side is Rama, the son of Dasaratha. But what Brigu's Rama doesn't realize is that Dasaratha's son is actually the supreme god Vishnu in human form. Brigu's Rama challenges him to string that celestial bow, basically daring him to prove his energy and combat prowess.
So pro tip for everyone out there, do not challenge a manifestation of Vishnu to a test of strength. It won't go well for you. Dasaratha's son just takes the bow and effortlessly strings it without even trying. The twang of the bowstring is so earth-shatteringly loud it terrifies all creatures. But he isn't done. He takes a celestial arrow from his challenger, and he is visibly angry at the insult to his innate supreme power.
And that takes us into our final act, Part 5, A Glimpse of the Cosmos.
Dasaratha's son decides that simply stringing a bow just isn't quite enough to prove his point. He wants to reveal his true, overwhelming nature. So, he grants his challenger a special vision to witness his cosmic form. This right here perfectly illustrates the sheer scale of the divine energy we're dealing with. Within his own physical body, he reveals the Adityas, the planets, the constellations, mythical beings, the oceans, the mountains, and even the Vedas and the clouds themselves. He literally contains the entire universe within himself.
Then, Vishnu shoots the arrow, and the world-shaking force of firing the single weapon causes the earth to quake. Burning meteors flash across the sky, and showers of dust and rain just start pouring down. The immense energy of this one action completely confounds and absorbs the energy of Brigu's Rama. The challenger is left deprived of his senses, entirely stripped of his power, with his pride utterly destroyed.
Now completely stripped of his might, Brigu's Rama is forced onto a path of redemption. He retreats in shame to the Mahendra Mountains. After a whole year of living without his energy, his ancestors, the Pitris, tell him how to seek redemption. They advise him to travel to a specific sacred river and bathe in the Tirtha. And amazingly, those are the exact same sacred waters that centuries later Yudhisthira bathes in to restore his own stolen energy. It all just comes full circle.
Wrapping up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a thought. We've seen an Asura's magic get completely digested by a sage's internal fire. We saw a son bred to hold the power of 1,000 men, and a warrior stripped of his might by the sheer cosmic force of the universe itself. But in every single case, lost power can be restored. If even the greatest figures in these epics can lose and regain their might, what does that tell us about our own energy? Power in these myths is never a static thing. It's an ever-flowing river. Keep questioning the nature of the energy you bring into the world, and thanks so much for exploring this incredible text with me.